David Muir, ABC's World News Tonight, America's most watched newscast. Now streaming same day with all the breaking news of the day on Disney Plus. Most watched, most trusted. Now on Disney Plus every night.
Tonight, dangerous weather across the U.S. The flash flood threat stretching from Ohio to West Virginia. The relentless flooding is finally easing for the Midwest, but not the rain. Still soaking areas already drenched after 8 consecutive days. At least 7 people have died, including a 4-year-old in Indiana. The state overwhelmed by heavy rains, which triggered water rescues and evacuations. Lala is now a tropical storm, but it delivered a devastating blow to Hawaii's Big Island with torrential rains and damaging winds. Hundreds of homes were damaged and thousands are without power. It's now lashing other parts of the islands with gusty winds and flash flooding. Our weather team is tracking it all. Also tonight, the dramatic images of a deadly shooting at a crowded park during a concert in Lexington, Kentucky. And that's just one of several mass shootings in America this weekend. Ukraine has launched its largest aerial attack of the war, firing hundreds of drones across Russia. 1 week into his job as Attorney General, Todd Blanche is raising concerns after refusing to declare the Department of Justice's independence from the White House. The stunning video, how a vigilant homeowner scared off a group of masked men. Another art heist in Europe, 4 Renaissance paintings stolen from a museum in Italy. What soccer legend Cristiano Ronaldo is saying about his future after that disappointing showing in the World Cup. Remembering former Major League Baseball pitcher Tommy John, also known as the Bionic Man, after a groundbreaking surgical procedure. And more big announcements from the ultimate Disney fan event, big news about the parks, the introduction of the new Disney legends, and an exclusive and cherished honor for Disney's former CEO, Bob Iger.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us on this Sunday. I'm Lindsay Davis. We begin tonight with a severe weather threat from Missouri to Virginia, a wide swath of thunderstorms stretching from the heartland to the eastern seaboard. There is a slight reprieve tonight for states like Indiana and other parts of the Midwest after days of catastrophic flooding. Homes and roads washed away, lives and communities upended by water that would not stop rising. At least 7 people died in Indiana, including a 4-year-old. Officials from Hamilton County say every community in the county was impacted, including Noblesville, one of the hardest hit areas. And these images coming in moments ago of lightning and severe thunderstorms in Sugar Creek, Ohio. Another reminder tonight of just how powerful and unforgiving this weather can be. ABC's meteorologist Leslie Lopez leads us off.
Tonight, communities in the Midwest facing a long recovery after deadly flooding slammed parts of the region. 7 people dead, including a 4-year-old child, after a week of relentless rain and flash flooding in Indiana. Across the state, rising water is washing out roads, cutting off homes. North of Indianapolis and hard-hit Noblesville, cars and buildings submerged by fast-moving floodwaters. In some places, getting almost a foot of rain in 2 days. The White River cresting at nearly 25 feet, a record level surpassing the Great Flood of 1913.
I've never seen it flood so much as it has here lately.
In Indiana, Julio Enciso capturing this footage as emergency crews rescued him and his family from their home. First responders carrying out at least 50 water rescues, reaching more than 90 people stranded by the flooding. Now with a state of emergency declared, FEMA aid on the way as crews work to restore power to more than 150,000 customers.
The recovery is a long process. The hazards are still there, the challenges are still there.
In Ohio, this funnel cloud spotted as severe storms move through northern parts of the state. And the severe weather is not limited to the Midwest. In Colorado, powerful storms dumping heavy rain and hail. In Inglewood, snow plows brought in to clear the mounds of hail off the roads.
Look at those images. Leslie joins us now. So what's the latest with these severe thunderstorms and also Tropical Storm Lala?
I want to start out in eastern Missouri and just show you that their threat still remains. We are looking at the possibility of more thunderstorms moving through areas of eastern Missouri all the way out towards Virginia. This is a large area. We do have heavy rounds of rain still coming through, but the main threat now, damaging wind, along with frequent lightning strikes and the possibility of isolated tornadoes. Now, a significant flash flood risk is out towards West Virginia. West Virginia has already issued several flash flood warnings. The likelihood that they're going to issue issue more tonight is in the forecast. An elevated flash flood risk all the way out towards Columbus into Pittsburgh. I want to take you out to Lala. Lala now veering away from the Hawaiian Island chain. It is weakening. There's a great improvement in terms of rainfall totals. However, we are still seeing the possibility of a new threat that will be landslides and mudslides against the steep terrain that is already saturated and soft. Lindsay.
All right, we hope you'll be monitoring that for us. Thank you, Leslie. Now to the powerful winds and rains battering the Hawaiian Islands. Hurricane Lala is now a tropical storm. Thousands are without power tonight, and threats remain from heavy rain, flash flooding, and rough surf. ABC's Melissa Adan is on the scene tonight.
Tonight, Lala pummeling the Hawaiian Islands with torrential rains, life-threatening high surf, and damaging winds. At least one person killed in a car accident on hard-hit Big Island, where some areas have been inundated with more than 30 inches of rain.
They were getting 2 inches of rain per hour. That means all kinds of damage, and frankly, that's going to be major recovery.
Officials saying more than 100 structures were destroyed or damaged.
We are near the Big Island southern point where Lala unleashed its fiercest winds and rain, and you can see why. This tree is completely downed. It has now buckled this main roadway here, making each way impassable.
In Honolulu, 3 people injured after authorities say they fell from their roofs. Some of the islands seeing wind gusts over 70 miles per hour, whipping up hazardous surf and downing trees. More than 190,000 customers without power for a time. Our anchor, Colleen Sullivan from KABC in Los Angeles, on vacation in Maui, saying her nearly 500-room hotel lost power.
Everyone is frustrated. A lot of people have families. A lot of people have children. For the last, I'm going to say, 12 to 18 hours, it has been complete chaos.
The Trump administration says it is tracking the storm and is ready to offer assistance where needed.
Lindsay, there is widespread damage across Hawaii, and now cleanup and recovery efforts are underway. Lindsay?
All right, long way to go there, Melissa. Thank you. Now to the terror and chaos during a deadly shooting at a concert in Kentucky. At least 4 people were shot, including a 4-year-old. 1 person is dead. The sound of gunshots sent the crowd running. And this is just one of several mass shootings in America this weekend. And we do want to warn you, some of these images are disturbing. Here's ABC's Morgan Norwood.
A summer concert in the park shattered by gunfire. People dancing when the sounds of gunshots sent them scrambling for cover in Lexington, Kentucky. From this angle, you can see 2 men talking, but in the background, some sort of disturbance. A group seen backing up before shots fired. The camera shakes as the person behind it runs. You hear a woman's piercing screams for her baby. Then a brief flash of what appears to be a young child. 1 dead, 5 others injured. Police swarming the scene.
One of the victims is deceased. 1 4-year-old was struck, a 14-year-old was struck, and 2 adults were struck. But they all have, which has been reported to us as non-life-threatening injuries.
That 4-year-old and 14-year-old both expected to survive. Now the search is on for a suspect. This incident, a part of a violent weekend across several major cities. In Chicago, police say 4 people were shot in a drive-by. No arrests have been made. And tonight, after that all-out manhunt for multiple suspects in that shooting at Virginia State University, police announcing they found a 19-year-old suspect hiding in the closet in an on-campus dorm. The shooting unfolding during move-in day, sending 5 people, including a student, to the hospital.
And Lindsay, another deadly shooting, this one happening early this morning in Hartford, Connecticut, where police say 5 people were shot near a nightclub. Lindsay, this marks the 9th mass shooting just this weekend alone, according to the National Gun Violence Archive. Lindsay?
An especially violent weekend, Morgan. Thank you. Overseas now to Ukraine launching a massive drone assault on Russia. This is one of the largest aerial attacks since the 4-year-old war began. Let's get right to ABC's Lama Hassan. Lama, what more are you learning tonight?
Yeah, Lindsay, this was a massive attack. The Russian Defense Ministry saying it destroyed more than 800 Ukrainian drones overnight. Moscow's mayor adding that some 600 drones were detected heading toward the Russian capital, shooting down 1/3 of them. But still, at least 7 people across Russia were killed. Wildberries, which is Russia's largest online retailer, hit again. One of its massive warehouses on fire. Russia fighting back, sending a wave of drones, killing at least 5 people, destroying a market in the Ukrainian capital, Kyiv. The Ukrainian defense minister believes their ballistic missiles will be able to reach Russian territory in 3 to 6 months. So there seems to be no end in sight to the fighting, Lindsay. What is clear is that these latest strikes are a dramatic escalation in this war. Lindsay.
Sure are, Lama. Thank you. Back here in the U.S., newly minted Attorney General Todd Blanche is renewing concerns about his close relationship with President Trump. This after he declined to declare the Department of Justice's independence from the White House. Let's bring in ABC's Olivia Rubin. Olivia, how is the AG raising eyebrows tonight?
Lindsay, tonight Attorney General Todd Blanche is still less than 1 week in his official job and fresh off that razor-thin confirmation vote that was almost derailed by concerns from some Republican senators about his ties to the president. Now tonight, Todd Blanche, formerly President Trump's personal defense attorney, not committing to always act independently from the White House, saying, quote, "No, I'm not going to pledge that." And Blanche, in an unusual move this week, also speaking at Trump's event on Long Island, where the president touted a slate of Republican candidates. And on that controversial anti-weaponization fund, Blanche says it is dead, but has said that anyone that had the Justice Department used against them, not just the January 6th rioters, can sue the government for compensation. Lindsay.
Olivia, thank you. Democrats have set their presidential primary calendar for 2028, once again leading with South Carolina. It comes as the party is looking to take back control of Congress in the midterm elections, but that fight may begin long before voters head to the polls, with a battle within the party itself as progressives and moderates vie for its future. Here's ABC's Stephen Portnoy.
Tonight, Democrats aiming to shake things up and let voters know ahead of the critical midterms that they're listening, putting South Carolina at the front of the line, giving its large black electorate the first presidential pick. The DNC's move would take Iowa out of the early Democratic contests and put New Hampshire third. Party officials in those states pushing back. The debate over the calendar, one of many struggles Democrats are internally confronting as they try to win the House and Senate this fall. The dynamic playing out across the country as progressives aim to take down moderates and expand their influence.
There are legitimate differences, but the unifying theme is that this system isn't working for ordinary Americans.
Republicans have largely remained united behind President Trump, whose endorsed candidates have won their primaries in nearly every race. The GOP hopes this fall to tie Democrats to the growing progressive extreme of their party. But voters in Wisconsin last week handed a narrow defeat to a Democratic socialist, gubernatorial candidate Francesca Hong. In Alaska, Democratic Senate candidate Mary Peltola is seeming to distance herself from her party's last presidential nominee. That after Kamala Harris sent a fundraising email on Peltola's behalf. Her campaign telling the New York Times she doesn't seek anyone's endorsement outside of Alaska. And in a nod to the political reality in a trio of deep red states, Democratic Senate candidates in Nebraska, Idaho, and South Dakota have dropped out, hoping that independents on the ballot in those states might pose more of a challenge to GOP incumbents. The politics of each state is different, of course, and the contests are played to win. In Arizona, the Democratic governor has chosen the former Republican mayor of Mesa to be her running mate. It's a clear effort at crossover appeal. Lindsay?
Stephen, thank you. The Tupac Shakur murder trial is set to begin tomorrow. It comes nearly 30 years after the iconic rapper was gunned down on the Las Vegas Strip. A former gang leader is accused of orchestrating the murder. Here's ABC's Alex Stone.
Tonight, the eve of a murder trial 30 years in the making. For decades, a mystery of who killed Tupac Shakur has lingered. But this week, Las Vegas prosecutors say they will begin to lay out their case against this man, Dwayne Davis, street name Keefe D, a one-time South LA gang leader accused of ordering Shakur's killing and even supplying the gun. Davis spoke exclusively to ABC News from inside jail.
They don't have no evidence against me.
For years, Davis has bragged about his role in the killing, even publishing a book admitting to being in the shooter's Cadillac. But now he says those were all lies to sell books.
A guy wrote that book. I just gave him details of my life.
Shakur, just 25 years old on September 7th, 1996, at the height of his music and acting career, with hits like California Love, shot and killed at an intersection just off the Las Vegas Strip. A jury of 6 men and 10 women now impaneled, among them a self-help guru, a gemologist who had never heard of Tupac, and a mailman who used to listen to his music in the 90s. During jury selection, potential jurors were told the name Sean Diddy Combs will come up at trial. Combs, a founder of Bad Boy Records, a nemesis of Death Row Records, a label that signed Shakur. Lindsay, even though Sean Combs' name was brought up repeatedly during jury selection, prosecutors say he will not be called to testify during the trial, which could last over a month. Lindsay.
Alex, thank you. Still to come on World News Sunday, a brazen art heist in Italy, 4 masterpieces stolen from a museum. Tonight, a sweeping search for the stolen paintings. And baseball remembers a pitcher who changed the game, the legacy of Tommy John, and the surgery that bears his name. Tonight, a scary scene in Pasadena, California, caught on camera. Surveillance video shows 4 masked men approaching a home, then running off when the homeowner confronts them. The house is next to several others that remain vacant, still being repaired or rebuilt after the January 2025 Eaton fire. Major League Baseball is remembering former Yankees pitcher Tommy John. John died Saturday at his home in Bradenton, Florida. He was 83, may best be known as the first pitcher to undergo the elbow surgery that now bears his name, a procedure that allowed him to pitch for 14 more seasons. John spent 26 years in the majors, winning 288 games. When we come back, the stunning announcement about his future from Portuguese soccer star Cristiano Ronaldo. To the index now, the bombshell news from Portuguese soccer star Cristiano Ronaldo. In an interview with Vogue published today, the 41-year-old, whose contract runs through next June, says this season is likely his last. The news comes after Ronaldo and Portugal were eliminated in the round of 16 at the recent World Cup. A sweeping search is now underway in Italy after 4 priceless paintings by Renaissance artist Antonello da Messina were stolen from a museum in Sicily Saturday. It happened as the country celebrated a major summer holiday. Authorities say thieves bypassed the security systems to make off with the paintings that date back to the 15th century. When we come back, Disney pulls out all the stops with new rides, attractions, and adventures. We'll show you what's next. Finally tonight, Disney is making news from new rides to new lands. Our Ginger Z has a dazzling preview of what's to come.
Disney pulling out all of the stops and stars.
Meet the lovely Cruella de Vil.
Revealing the most exciting Disney experiences coming around the world.
We are imagining an even greater, an even bigger, an even more beautiful tomorrow. I say, let's start dreaming, shall we?
Disney's brightest Imagineers gracing the stage all night. Something wicked this way comes. Villains land in Magic Kingdom.
Let's go and leave these 2 to work on the opening of my ride.
And Marvel with some new adventures with Earth's mightiest heroes coming to the parks in the States.
We built this place to recruit, inspire, and train the next generation. You're a big part of that mission.
And overseas.
We're going to go to Asgard. We're going to go to Wakanda. It's the first land anywhere in the world dedicated exclusively to Spider-Man.
Some exciting updates on the rides coming to Disney's Animal Kingdom.
So our attraction will be called Indiana Jones and the Myth of the Jade Serpent.
For the first time ever, I'm the actual model of the Indiana Jones animatronic. Fear of snakes included.
All aboard for Disney Cruise Line's newest ship, the Disney Believe.
Moana will be the grand hall icon on the Disney Believe.
The day filled with special announcements. Early this morning, former Disney CEO Bob Iger receiving this special tribute, a unique window overlooking Town Square along Main Street, USA at Disneyland Park.
It's a pretty special day to celebrate someone who means a lot to Disney, and I know a lot to me and everybody here today, and that's Bob Iger. Having your name and your story etched onto a Main Street window at Disneyland is one of the absolute honors anyone can have.
Iger honored as the chief architect for New Century Builders, a tradition started by Walt Disney.
Nothing tops this. It's just so special to me to stand here, Town Square, Main Street, thinking about this place over 70 years ago, thinking about the millions and millions and millions of people that have come through.
Capping off days of excitement, 11 of Disney's biggest stars and storytellers, including Bob, were inducted as Disney Legends, the company's highest honor.
What an amazing weekend we have had between all of the parks announcements, all of the movies and all the series, so many things happening, and of course, just punctuated by that beautiful Disney Legends Awards ceremony. Lindsay?
Ginger, thank you. Good night.
David Muir, the most trusted, most watched newscast in America. And now, World News Tonight has won the Emmy for Best Live News Program for the 4th year in a row.